Support for makers comes from Clive Daniel Home and by Chico's.
My thesis advisor was a woman for whom I had great respect. Very interesting, very tough gal. She was married to an architect, and she said, well, it's a very tough world for women. The construction site, you might be treated poorly, you'll have difficulty communicating. Are you sure that's what you want to do? And I said, oh boy, this is just what I want to do. Just let's break through the barrier. And that is exactly what I did. Times were changing. It was that you can open any door if you just ask and go. And so that's really how I reacted to her words of discouragement. So one was aware that barriers were being broken, which was very exciting for young women. So it happened in my graduate years. We actually had about as many women in the architecture program as men, and they were doing really well. But the interesting thing is what the expectation for their careers would be after they graduated. Most women were sort of moved into the interiors side of the architectural practice, and most of the guys ended up doing construction detailing and actually on-site construction work. As I moved into firms, I really felt I was sort of kept, at least for a while, in the back room, but utilized beautifully. But when I really wanted to learn the tools of getting out in the field, that was a hard climb, and so that was a barrier. Learning that kind of toughness as it comes across the table is really, really important in any profession for a woman. Actually for men, but men are used to people yelling at them more than women, and I didn't want to be in a position where I'd go through my career with my chin quivering when somebody said something terribly difficult. My childhood was a wonderful combination of silliness and adoring warm love. And my mother is a very sharp Irish woman, Irish American, and she had a way of getting right to the point. But she could take us down the street and take us to a museum and make us laugh so hard. And my father traveled a lot. He was in sales and he was on the road, but he adored my mother. And seeing them be romantic in the house and know that that's what a good relationship is about, we were blessed. The classic first project is an opportunity that often comes from one's family. My folks were looking to retire. I learned that they were aiming for Naples. I had been teaching at Syracuse University at the time. The weather looked pretty good in Naples, and I said, "Are you kidding? You have to build a house. You can't buy a house. You've got a daughter that's an architect." I can honestly say my friends in New York thought that I was putting an end to my career by going to Florida. Everything is a palette for architecture, and Naples had it. It had open space, it had great weather, it had that growing climate for landscape, it had interest in building, and it hadn't built up too much before I arrived. I really felt like I could be part of how it grew up, and that was a mission on my part. I had done years of research in what I call liturgical and religious art while I had a tenure in Rome at the American Academy some years before. So people call me the church lady. I worked very, very hard to get the commission by trying to make the most unusual presentation, which is actually something I just absolutely enjoy. Finding a way to get into people's hearts so they know that there's more going on than just the techniques of design. I was able to be on the planning advisory board for several years, and there were some big decisions being made during that time. The redevelopment of Fifth Avenue was presented by Andres Duani and Liz Plater-Zyberk in the whole new Fifth Avenue overlay proposal, and I was able to participate in bringing the information to the table. I think there are some real advantages to being female in this business, but also in life. Amazing ability to multitask and remain calm. Running an office for me was like running a family, being a family. Just as I was turning 50, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and obviously I'm not alone, since it apparently is 1 in 7 women are victims of this. I was excited about it, and I actually think I have the most perverse attitude about something that's very dire. Because I was really glad to know, since I suspected that there was something wrong. When I lost my hair, something wonderful happened. I got into these incredible turbans. I really realized who I was, that I too could be the palette. What it did for me, because people were so unbelievably good to me, was I'm going to spend the rest of my life repaying that. And it is huge. It is exciting. I cannot love enough. What I'd like to leave behind is the creative spirit. What is here can easily be steered into replication of directions that have happened elsewhere, and with the same results. Realize we can be different and it's okay. So the projects that I do, I try to bring something that is even more tied to this specific area. It's more in the context of this place, these people, than taking something from someplace else and rubber stamping it in the area and just kind of decorating it.
Support for Makers comes from Bank of America and by Cypress Cove,